So this is my little terrarium. Again, I found this in the garbage. The side right here, as you can see, was cracked. And I said, okay, I can't use it, fill it up with water and use it as a saltwater tank or a freshwater tank. So I said, what's the next thing I can do? And I've been watching videos on YouTube of terrariums. These beautiful, and they're tall. They have side doors or back doors and stuff, and they have a bunch of plants growing and little geckos and crabs and all kinds of interesting things. So I said, you know what? Let me experiment. Since the tank was free, I said, you know what? Let me use everything that I have. I live in South Florida. Well, Florida, Orlando. And I said, you know what? Hurricane Ian just knocked down a bunch of branches and stuff. And I wanted to try to get local stuff to have it grow here. So one of the ideas that I had was to create a small little pond in here. So this is essentially, I took plastic bags, like from the stores, I balled them up, then I covered them with aluminum, and then I covered the aluminum with this, actually it's this exact same towel. What I should have done was take the, I'm not sure if it's concrete or grout, but I should have like sprayed this down, just wet it slightly, tap that thing onto it, and then put it on there. I didn't really quite do that, and some of it has dried dry. It's a rock. But on some parts, as you can see, it's still kind of towely. Now, originally I designed it to be like that so that if I had moss, the moss would grow roots into the fabric and hopefully, just create a nice to be able to grow on there. I could have used fiberglass rocks and stuff like that, but I really wanted a surface where plants could actually attach to. Now in here, since I don't really have plants attaching into here, I tried filling this up with water. I gave it like maybe 7 days to dry, and it didn't really dry that. It took forever to dry. But now what I'm planning to do is I'm going to take something like this. I'm going to get some silicone, which I do have in my storage unit, and I'm going to mix it with the cement slash grout and just cover this whole area with silicone. And I think that that silicone tub with a little bit of the rock sprinkled on top of it so it doesn't lose the roughness, I think that that should work. I think that it will make it watertight, and at the same time, because right now what I'm getting is as soon as I fill this thing up with water, it starts to transfer into the back, and then what happens is eventually this water will go down and level out with the back, which I don't want. I want this to be a completely sealed basin. So the best way to do that would be exactly what I said. Or option 2 would be take some aluminum and put it down and then seal it with silicone. I still don't know yet, but anyways, this is what I got so far. I've been picking up branches. I kind of taped them together on the bottom to make it look interesting. I'm going to get some maybe morning glory or some other kind of vine that wraps itself around this, so this will all be nice and covered. I got a bunch of lichens and stuff like that and mosses, and I'll be attaching them with a little drop of crazy glue. Hopefully they'll take. And so like again, I'm gonna make a little pond here with little feeder guppies and stuff, and then fill this with plants and a couple of ferns and small things. Hopefully they won't grow too big. So that's what I've got so far. It does look very interesting, and once I get the vines to start wrapping around here and stuff, it should look really interesting. This part, as you can see, it still looks like a piece of towel just draped on there, so I got to seal this up. So I'm going to try with the silicone, and the silicone will dry much faster than this crap did. So I'm hoping that that seals this whole area. Fill it up with water, see if it stays, and then I'm going to get some towels with the process I explained. Cut a piece out, spray it down with a little bit of water, just make it moist, and then pack the grout or the concrete on there, and then grout these things into place so they don't move around, and then start putting in my topsoil, my rocks, my topsoil, put the mosses and the plants where they more or less look good, and then fill this up with water and put a couple of aquatic plants in here as well, so everything looks really nice. And then just let it grow, see what happens. So this is the project tank here, and so far I'm really happy with the way it looks. Once I'm gonna get as much lichen off tree bark and just put little pieces of crazy glue and just attach it all over this, because I really want this to explode with lichen, and hopefully that'll work. I thought about putting like a little ultrasound mister in here to create mists, but the thing is, I'm kind of afraid with the ultrasounds and the fish, it might kill them, because we do use ultrasounds to get rid of pests. So for us, we won't hear it, but for them, it will be like this constant hum that'll just drive them all nuts. So I decided not to go with that. So again, I'm going to try to see if I can fix this thing up, put these guys in place, and then give it a couple of days for everything to cure and dry. And then once that's done, I'll start putting my small little plants around and stuff, and we'll see if it looks good. Anyways, that's what I got so far. And again, if you do this, the best thing would be to really cover it with that cement or grout and stuff, because if not, once it dries, you know, you do this is solid, but if you look here on the side, you see that? So that's not, and that was fine. That was part of the idea. Everything above the water line would be kind of porous so that the plants can get roots in there and grow and stuff. But it didn't quite work out the way I originally planned, which is fine. You know, shit happens. But again, I think that if I do seal all this with silicone, just a layer of silicone all the way around where the water line will be, and a little higher actually than the water line, then I just sprinkle some of that concrete on there. In fact, I probably mix it with the grout or the concrete with the silicone, and then slowly apply it on here, and then sprinkle wherever there's a silicone visible. Just kind of pack it on the silicone, and it should dry fairly fast. Maybe in 2 hours it'll be waterproof, and we'll go by that route and see what happens. And then of course I'm going to grout these guys into place, and then after that we can go ahead and start putting our soil and our plants in there. And I might get morning glory seeds, which are like $1 and stuff, but they wrap around and they give really beautiful flowers. So we'll try that out and see if it works. I'm going to get some more of this moss, hang it from here so it kind of hangs down. It should look really nice. And then obviously here I'm not going to use this light. Again, since I'm going no frills and going as cheap as possible, what I'm thinking is getting Christmas tree lights and just using the blue and the red bulbs. Maybe getting a piece of wood and drilling it, you know, with the holes, and then sticking them through all the little holes, so I have a little grid, and then just have the Christmas lights plug in, and maybe on a timer and stuff. And that would be really nice, because then what you'd get is your grow lights. So essentially using the red and blue LEDs, which are for grow lights, and then maybe even mix in some white lights, so I can, you know, maybe one with a controller, so I can go through the different lights and maybe have them all flicker and shit. We'll see. Or another idea that I had, but it's more expensive, would be to get the LED strips and just you know, cut a piece of wood to the size of this, put the LED strips on the opposite side of it, and then we just wire them all up together with a controller, so I can go through all the different color patterns. So we'll see. It all depends on how well this tank comes out. But I'm actually really happy with the way it's looking right now. Even though these things are not like the same colors and stuff, once the lichen starts growing on them and the moss and everything, I'm hoping that everything will kind of even out. And then of course you'll have the things hanging down from the top, which should look really cool. Anyways, peace.